Marco is a young man who lives in a small town in Italy, a place where everyone knows each other and the streets are calm. His house is small but cozy, with light-colored walls and a wooden table near the window. Every morning, Marco wakes up early when the sun is still soft in the sky. He hears the sound of birds and the distant noise of a scooter passing by. He slowly gets out of bed, stretches his arms, and opens the window. Fresh air comes in, carrying the smell of coffee from the bar on the corner. From his window, Marco can see the street below. There is the same bar he has known since he was a kid, with a few people standing outside and talking. Some people walk to work, others stop to greet each other with a smile and a simple, buongiorno. Marco likes this moment of the day. It feels calm and familiar, and it helps him start the day with a good feeling. He closes the window, washes his face, and goes to the kitchen. For breakfast, Marco prepares a simple meal. He makes a cup of coffee and eats a piece of bread with jam. While he eats, he thinks about his goal. Marco wants to read Italian better. Italian is his language, but reading has always been difficult for him. Long sentences and hard words make him tired. That is why he chooses simple stories. I believe that easy text can help him grow step by step. After breakfast, Marco cleans the table and brings his small book from the shelf. The book is not new, and the pages are a little yellow, but he likes it. He sits at the table near the window where the light is good. He opens the book and looks at the first page. He takes a deep breath and starts reading slowly. He does not rush. He reads one word at a time, moving his finger under the line to stay focused. Sometimes Marco stops reading and looks at the ceiling. He thinks about the sentence he just read. He tries to understand the meaning without using a dictionary. When he understands, he smiles softly. That small success makes him feel proud. When he does not understand, he reads the sentence again. If it is still hard, he writes the word on a piece of paper to check later. Reading is not always easy for Marco. There are moments when he feels tired or confused. Some words look strange, and some sentences feel too long. But Marco does not give up. He remembers why he started. He wants to read signs, messages, and stories without fear. He wants to feel comfortable with words. This thought gives him strange ETH. As time passes, Marco notices small changes. Words that were difficult before now feel familiar. Sentences make more sense. He can read a full paragraph without stopping too much. This makes him feel calm and happy. He takes a sip of coffee and continues reading. The noise from the street becomes softer, and he feels alone with the book. Reading in the morning has become a habit for Marco. It is his quiet time, a moment just for himself. He feels that every page he reads is a small step forward. Even if progress is slow, it is real. He closes the book for a moment and looks outside again. People are moving faster now, and the town is fully awake. Marco smiles and opens the book again. He knows that learning takes time, but he is patient. Each morning, each page, and each word brings him closer to his goal. Reading Italian is no longer just a task for him. It is becoming a part of his life, something he enjoys and looks forward to every day. Later that same day, Marco decides to go out and visit the local library. The library is not far from his house, just a short walk through the town center. He puts on his jacket, takes his notebook, and steps outside. The air is fresh, and the sky is clear. As he walks, he passes small shops, a bakery with warm bread in the window, and people talking in low voices. Marco enjoys walking because it gives him time to think and observe everyday life, the same life he often reads about in his simple Italian stories. When he arrives at the library, Marco opens the heavy wooden door and steps inside. The sound of the street disappears, replaced by a calm and quiet atmosphere. The library smells of old books and paper. Light comes in through large windows, creating a peaceful space. Marco greets the librarian with a soft smile and walks slowly between the shelves. There are many books, but he knows what he is looking for. He wants something easy, something written for beginners, with clear language and short sentences. Marco stops in front of a shelf with simple Italian readers. He looks at the covers one by one. Some have pictures of families, streets, or small town. These images make him feel comfortable because they show normal life. He takes one book and opens it. He reads the first page silently. The words are simple, and the sentences are not long. He feels relaxed. This is the kind of book he needs. He takes it and finds a quiet place to sit. Marco chooses a table near the window. From there, he can see trees moving gently in the wind. He sits down, places his notebook on the table, and opens the book. He begins to read slowly, just like he does at home. The story talks about a family and their daily routine. They wake up, eat breakfast, go to work, and meet friends. These actions are simple, but they help Marco connect words with real life. As Marco reads, he comes across new words. He does not feel nervous. Instead, he feels curious. When he sees a word he does not know, he reads the sentence again. Often, he can guess the meaning from the context. When he is not sure, he writes the word in his notebook. He likes writing because it helps him remember. He writes the word, leaves space next to it, and plans to check the meaning later. Time passes quietly in the library. Marco reads page after page. He notices that he is stopping less than before. His eye moves more smoothly across the lines. He understands more without thinking too hard. This makes him feel proud. He remembers a time when reading made him anxious. Now, it feels calmer and more natural. From time to time, Marco looks around the library. Other people are reading, studying, or typing on laptops. Everyone is quiet and focused. This atmosphere helps him concentrate. He feels like he belongs there, like he is part of a world where learning is normal and peaceful. He takes a deep breath and continues reading. The story in the book talks about shopping at the market, cooking dinner, and talking with neighbors. These are words Marco hears every day, but reading them in a story helps him understand them better. He connects the written words with sounds and images in his mind. He remembers the bakery he passed earlier, the people on the street, and the conversations he hears in his town. After a long time, Marco closes the book gently. He feels satisfied, not tired. He looks at his notebook and sees a list of new words. It is not too long, and that makes him happy. He knows he can learn them. He stands up, returns the book to the desk, and thanks the librarian quietly. As Marco leaves the library, he feels lighter. Reading no longer feels like a challenge he must fight. It feels like a path he is walking step by step. With every visit to the library and every simple story, Marco feels more confident. He knows that learning Italian through reading is helping him grow, and he is excited to continue. In the evening, when the light in the sky begins to change and the air becomes cooler, Marco leaves his house again. The day has been full, but not heavy, and he feels calm inside. He walks toward the park where he often meets his friend Lucia. The park is a simple place with benches, tall trees, and a small path where people walk slowly. Children play near the swings, and older people sit and talk quietly. Marco likes coming here because it feels open and peaceful, a good place to relax and practice speaking. Lucia is already there, sitting on a bench and reading something on her phone. When she sees Marco, she smiles and stands up. They greet each other with a warm, ciao, and start walking together along the path. They do not walk fast. There is no need to hurry. Marco feels comfortable with Lucia because she is patient and kind. She knows that he is working hard to improve his Italian, and she never makes him feel bad when he makes mistakes. As they walk, Lucia asks Marco about his day. Marco takes a small breath and begins to speak in simple Italian. He tells her about the morning, about reading at home, and about his visit to the library. He chooses easy words and short sentences. So Metimes stops to think, searching for the right word. Lucia waits without interrupting. When Marco cannot remember a word, Lucia gently helps him, saying it slowly so he can hear it clearly. Marco feels proud of himself. A few months ago, he was afraid to speak about books or reading. Now, he is talking about a story he read in Italian. He explained that the story was about a family and their daily life. He talks about the market, cooking, and neighbors. As he speaks, he notices that the words come more easily. His sentences are not perfect, but they are clear. Lucia listens carefully and nods. Sometimes she repeats a sentence in a correct way, not to criticize, but to help Marco hear how it should sound. Marco listens and repeats it quietly. This makes him feel more confident. He realizes that making mistakes is part of learning, not something to be ashamed of. They sit down on a bench and continue talking. The sky is now orange and pink, and the park is softer and quieter. Marco tells Lucia that reading is no longer scary for him. He explains that simple stories help him understand the language in a natural way. Lucia smiles and tells him that she can see his progress. Her words make Marco feel happy and encouraged. As the evening goes on, they talk about small things, food, work, and plans for the weekend. Marco speaks slowly but clearly. He does not feel the fear he used to feel. When he makes a mistake, he corrects himself or asks for help. Lucia answers with kindness. This simple conversation feels like a big step for Marco. When it is time to go home, they say goodbye and promise to meet again. Marco walks back through the quiet streets. The shops are closing, and the town is calm again. He feels tired, but in a good way. At home, he turns on a small lamp and sits at the table. He opens the book he was reading earlier and reads a few more pages. This time, the words feel friendly. He recognizes many of them from the story and from his conversation with Lucia. Reading and speaking now feel connected. Marco realizes that learning a language is not just about studying. It is about living, listening, reading, and sharing moments with others. Before going to bed, Marco closes the book and smiles. He knows he still has much to learn, but he is not worried. Every day brings small progress. Reading Italian is no longer a problem or a duty. It is becoming a pleasure, a part of his daily life that helps him feel stronger and more confident.